Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, James DeGale, Badu Jack, that fight is right on the horizon. It'll be on January 14th at the Barclays Center over there in Brooklyn. And this fight right here will determine who is the best at 168 pounds for the time being. So, big implications for James DeGale, big implications for Badu Jack. Badu Jack is really I believe he's the only champion under the Mayweather Promotions banner. So if he loses this fight, Mayweather ain't gonna have no more champions. And for James DeGale, he's coming over here to the U.S. Trying to carve his own, legacy. When we talk about the super middleweight division, that's a division that's been primarily dominated by British fighters. Joe Calzaghe, Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn, all those types of fighters. And this fight right here would be another step towards him adding his name into that mix of great British super middleweights. So this is a fight that he has to have. And James DeGale recently came out on BoxingScene.com, and I'll leave the article for you guys down below as always, saying that Joe Calzaghe, probably the greatest British super middleweight there ever was, or forget British, just super middleweight in general, had a really good career, undefeated. I believe it was 46-0, and beat the likes of Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. to end his career. So with that being said, he wants to emulate him. That's someone that he wants to emulate. He even said that in his article. So I want to read you guys what he said about kind of following the same type of path that Joe Calzaghe did. Here's what he said. He said, I quote, "Calzaghe is one of my favorite fighters. He's a bit similar to me. He's a southpaw. He throws a lot of punches. He's another one who didn't get the full credit he was due until after he retired. But that's how boxing is. I've got to perform. My last couple of performances haven't been vintage James DeGale. This is the best fighting the best. The champ fighting the champ. This is proper." And then he was also talking about how he doesn't get the respect he deserves from British fight fans, from fight fans in general, saying that because he was the first British fighter to win a gold medal in the Olympics and become a world champion. No other British fighter had done that before James DeGale. So here's what he said in regards to that. He said, I quote, "I don't get the respect. I made a bit of history. If I unify the division going across the pond, no one's ever done that in Britain. This is the one. I get love and support. I do have my fans, but it feels like I look around at different fighters who haven't done half of what I've done, and they don't, and they get so much more recognition. I don't get the credit, the full recognition. I don't. But after this fight, people will start respecting and knowing that I'm the best." Now, with that being said, let me say this about James DeGale. He's someone that I've always respected, someone I've always admired, because this is a man right here who has always been willing to fight the best. He went on the road. He fought Lucien Boutte. He beat Andre Durrell, also coming across the pond to become a world champion. So he's done things the honest way, and he's fighting now Badu Jack once again on the road. So he's a true champion, definitely a true champion. And I think part of the reasons that he doesn't have the following that he should have is for a couple of reasons. Number one, the division he's currently fighting in doesn't really have any big names. And on top of that, the guys in whether it be 175 or 168 or 160, they just haven't fought him. When Andre Ward was at 168 and he was like that guy or one of the guys in the division, he didn't fight James DeGale when James DeGale was in the top 10. Same thing for Golovkin. Golovkin has yet to move up and go fight James DeGale. So with that being said, he hasn't afforded those big opportunities to prove himself on the big stage like that. So that's part of the reason he doesn't. But I never really understood why he doesn't get the credit. Maybe some of my UK viewers out there, because I know I got a good amount of them. Maybe some of my UK viewers out there could educate me. Why doesn't James DeGale get more support? Because a lot of your guys, Anthony Joshua, Tony Bellew, a lot of those guys out there who are champions, Chris Eubank, it seems to me like they get a lot of support, and they actually had the luxury of fighting at home. But James DeGale always finds himself fighting in America. I think maybe it's because he's signed with Al Haymon. That could be it. I don't know. But you guys can educate me on that. But yeah, as far as Calzaghe and wanting to kind of emulate Calzaghe, I think it's very possible for DeGale. Now, obviously, I don't think, and I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that I think James DeGale could be as good as better than Joe Calzaghe, or even as good. I think Joe Calzaghe's stamina and work rate are what set him apart from just everybody. In super middleweight history, his accuracy, work rate, and just combination punching is what was able to allow him to be so successful for all those years. James DeGale has a little bit of what Calzaghe has, but he doesn't have all of it. He tends to fade later on in his fights, so that's why I don't think he could beat like Joe Calzaghe. But regardless, I think with what he did, becoming the first British fighter to win a gold medal and become world champion, doing that is historical. And then coming to across the pond, beating Andre Dirrell in Boston to become a world champion, and then there was that, and then he beat Lucien Boutte, who had been a mainstay at 168. He still is a mainstay. Well, not anymore. He moved to 175, but has been a mainstay at 168 for years. Fought him on the road, and Boutte actually showed that he still had a lot left in the tank, and he was able to grind out a really good victory there. So now fighting Badou Jack, I think James DeGale has a chance to firmly establish himself as not just the best fighter at 168, but potentially the 10th best fighter in boxing. Getting himself on that pound for pound list will be huge for him and his recognition. So that's the news, man. James DeGale wants to emulate Joe Calzaghe, and this is going to begin my coverage for the DeGale Jack fight. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think James DeGale is going to beat Badou Jack, and do you think he's going to be able to put himself in that list with the great British middleweights that I mentioned earlier? Leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.